ஓகே கிளாஸ்க்குள்ள போகலாமா? Okay, good morning to all. So we are again the retrocentric class after I think 2 weeks, isn't it? So I will recap what we have seen in the last class. Okay, I think it's almost more than 10 days. So we will recollect some of the. I think I will. It will be quick enough to show you only one slide. Okay, then we will go to the today's lecture. So already I think in the 1.5 class, in the last class, we have seen about how to do a retrosynthetic and what is the meaning of synthone and synthetic equivalence, and how to break the bond, what is meaning of disconnection, and all we have seen in the last class. So these are called synthones. After a bond breaking, we will get two ions, like one anion or cation. You can say one nucleophile and an electrophile. One nucleophile and an electrophile. These are called synthones, and we have to write down then the equivalent reagent for those synthones. They are called synthetic equivalents. That's what we have seen in the last class. Okay, in today's class, okay, so we know that synthones are idealized fragments, usually cations or anions, resulting from a disconnection. Okay, so we have to find out the or replace the synthones with the synthetic equivalents. We call it as a reagent. Okay, so in today's class we will see some of the guidelines. Okay, how to do the disconnections. In a molecule there will be a lot of bonds. Okay, a lot of CC bonds or CX or heteroatom bonds. So we will be breaking the bonds one by one to arrive at the starting material. Okay, so how to choose the bond, which bond we have to break first. So guideline 1, so we have to break a bond such that we can do the real synthesis. That means the breaking is a reverse of real and workable reaction. So if suppose you are breaking a bond, so take this molecule. Okay, so the left side we have aromatic and the right side we have acid. Okay, so these two are connected by a CO, ether bond. Suppose we are breaking the ether bond, CO bond. Okay, then you will end up with two synthones, one anion and one cation, or you can say it's a nucleophile and electrophile. So how to choose a bond when you are given a molecule? How to start? The first point is, suppose you are breaking a bond, that should be formed when you do the forward synthesis. It should be formed so that you choose the right bond. Okay, so the reaction should be a reverse of the breaking of bond should be a reverse of real and workable reaction. So it's a known, based on the known chemistry only you can break the bond. You can simply break anywhere in the molecule. So if you are breaking a bond, you should able to form the bond. Okay, so that's why we are breaking this bond. So the first point is, when you break a bond, you should think of the working of reaction. That should be a reversal of real and workable reaction. So you know that in the mind that this reaction will happen. Suppose if you break the bond, this reaction will happen when you do the forward reactions. So that is the first point. So based on the known chemistry, you can break a bond. So we choose to disconnect here. See the alkyl, what the oxygen, the alkyl C bond. The left side also we have C connected to the carbon connected to the oxygen. The right side also a carbon is connected to the oxygen. So we have two CO bond, two ether bond. We can say one is aryl oxygen, one is alkyl oxygens. Suppose if you are choosing the other side, that is if you are breaking the aryl and oxygen, then you will end up with these two synthons. Okay. So why we are not selecting that means the above one, that means if you are breaking the oxygen alkyl bond, that you can form when you carry forward the when you do the forward reaction, you can easily form the bond because it's known nucleophile and electrophile. We can find out the equivalent, the synthetic equivalents for those synthons, but it's very difficult when you break the aryl oxygen bond. That means you will have a cation in aromatic and non-ion oxygen. This is not a problem, but this is a problem. You cannot have a nucleophilic attack of an alcohol. Suppose in the synthetic equivalent it will be alcohol. This okay. So you cannot have a nucleophilic attack on the inactivated aromatic ring. So it's very difficult to form aromatic nucleophilic substitution. Okay, so that's why we are choosing alkyl oxygen bond to disconnect. Okay, so you should remember that whenever you break a bond, you should choose the alkyl hetero, means alkyl oxygen here atom bond to for the disconnection, or not the aryl oxygen bond. Okay, so this is the first point you got to remember. If you are seeing a bond in a molecule where you have heteroatom, then you will have automatically more than one the heterocarbon bonding. Suppose you have an alkyl and aryl, then you got to go for the alkyl oxygen breaking. Okay, disconnection. The guideline number 2 is disconnection next to the heteroatom. We have already done that, and the first guidelines, the example what we have taken is also having a heteroatom. So first thing you remember that if you are having heteroatom, the connection should be the disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. Okay, like ester, amide, ether, ketols, acetals, sulfides, amines. These are all some functional groups where you will see the heteroatoms. Okay, so suppose if you are given this molecule, okay, where you have carbon sulfur, carbon hetero bonding. So according to the guideline number 2, this is called chlorobenzide, is being used as a pesticide. Okay, this molecule. So if you do the retrosynthetic analysis, that means if you are doing the disconnection according to the guideline 1, already we know that we have to disconnect next, that means the alkyl heteroatom bond. Okay, not aryl. So as in the case of earlier, here we had oxygen in the earlier case, now we have sulfur. So we are not surely disconnecting the heteroatom aryl bond. So you have to choose the heteroatom and carbon bond. Okay, SO bond here. So according to the guidelines 2, we are disconnecting next to the sulfur atom. Yes, we have to disconnect next to the heteroatom. So here the sulfur is the heteroatom. So we have to disconnect next to the heteroatom. There you have two possibilities. In that you have to choose the alkyl heteroatom bond. Okay. Then you are breaking the CS bond in the right side, the alkyl CS bond. Then you will have the two synthons here. So it is very easy then after rightly disconnecting the after disconnecting the right bond. So it's very easy that you can find out the synthetic equivalents which you obtain for the synthons. Okay, so here these are the synthons, okay, nucleophile and electrophile. So whenever you have a nucleophile, then you got to think about corresponding this with it to the base, you can generate easily a nucleophile. That you can have thiol, okay, this like diophenol is a synthetic equivalent for this synthone, okay, that you can easily arrive at the synthetic equivalent. Here whenever you have a cation you can have a leaving group. Suppose you have chlorine, so this you can take it as a synthetic equivalent for this synthone, okay. So then you have a base, so you should have a base because the base will abstract the proton to generate the anion. Once the anion is generated, then you can easily make the substitution with this molecule, okay. So once you finish this retrosynthetic analysis, then you have to go for the forward synthesis, okay. So then the right synthetic scheme you can write it for this chlorobenzide, okay. So first you take this parachloro substitute thiophenol, then you treat with this benzyl chloride, parachloro substitute benzyl chloride in presence of a base. You can use sodium ethoxide in ethanol as a base, so you can easily reach the target molecule, okay, this chlorobenzide. So here in this disconnection we have used the two guidelines. Guideline 1, you have to disconnect on the alkyl heteroatom bond on the alkyl side, not on the aryl side. The second point is, whenever you have a heteroatom, you have to disconnect next to the heteroatom. Here we have disconnected the next to the sulfur atom, okay. So by taking the chlorobenzide as an example, we have used those two guidelines, okay. Now we will go for the guideline number 3. Before that we will see one more example, okay, retrosynthetic analysis of this para amine substitute ester compound, okay. This is one of the drug used to lower the blood lipid level, okay. So this is called catabine ethyl ester. So if you do the retrosynthetic analysis for this compound, so as per we have seen already two guidelines. So suppose if you are using the guideline 1, here you have aryl and the alkyl next to this heteroatom, okay. So suppose you are given a molecule, first you have to look at the heteroatom, whether there is any heteroatom carbon bonding. Here we have CN bond here and CN bond here. So according to the guideline number 1, we will be using the CN bond which is in the left side, the alkyl, okay. Then obviously the second point is next to the nitrogen atom, because nitrogen is a heteroatom. So if you use the two guidelines, surely you will select the left side CN bond, okay, left side CN bond for the disconnection, okay. So if you disconnect that bond, you will end up with these synthones, this electrophile and nucleophile. These are the synthones. So now you know the synthones, then you have to look for the synthetic equivalent for those synthones. So you know that whenever you have a cation, then you can simply have a leaving group like easily leaving group bromine. Then you have already seen some of so many examples, even in the last class also we have tabulated the synthetic equivalents for the synthones. So when you have an anion, we suppose you have to have an anion in an heteroatom, so it's very easy to generate if you have the corresponding the protonated compound. That means in the case here we have the amine. Then if you treat the amine with suppose okay, now you have done the left side disconnection, okay. In this molecule, the catabine ethyl ester, we have done the retrosynthetic part to the left side. The right side of molecule we have the ester. So we have CO bond here, okay. The ester we can easily convert into the corresponding acid when you do the retrosynthetic analysis, so that you can, in the forward reaction, you will do the esterification in the acid molecule to get the ester. Okay, so it's very easy reaction, it's a simple reaction. So if you combine these two retrosynthetic analysis, the left side one and the right side one, first we disconnected. Whenever you have given a molecule, first we got to disconnect the bond which is connected to heteroatom. Okay, so using those the two guidelines, we have done this disconnection. Okay, now we know the two synthetic equivalent. Okay, again we are doing the retrosynthetic disconnection to the right side of the molecule, where you have a simple ester that you can derive from the corresponding acid. Okay, now you combine and the two synthons, the synthons you got from this retrosynthetic analysis, and then you write the forward reactions. So automatically, first step is when you do the forward synthesis, when you are going for the forward synthesis, you have to write down from the last step what you did in the retrosynthetic analysis in the last step. That should be the first step when you write the forward synthesis. So this is the last step. According to our synthetic analysis, we do the CO ester bond breaking the last stage. That means in the forward reaction we have to do the forward reaction, first the esterification. Okay, since the retrosynthetic analysis, this was the last step. So the first step in the forward synthesis is the esterification of the acid. Okay, you take the para aminobenzoic acid and treat with the ethanol, you will get the para amino, the ester, benzoic ester. Okay, ethyl ester. Then the next step, you disconnected this CN bond. Okay, then you have to treat these two reagents. Okay, then first you treat the base, and in presence of base already we generated this one, isn't it? This is one reagent, the another reagent is this one. So to generate this anion, you have to have a base. So in presence of a base, the anion will be generated, then automatically it will undergo a substitution reaction. This anion will replace the bromine to give the target molecule. Okay, so now I think you understood. Here we have done two disconnections. Okay, first is using the guideline 1 and 2. The second one is we will see in the later. Okay, second one is simply it's a functional group interconversion. We have seen some of the example in the introduction class also. So we will see in the later classes when you are seeing the number of examples where you can see the functional group interconversion as the key step. Okay, that we will see later. So here we have used in the first step the functional group interconversion, the second step using the guideline 1 and 2. Okay, that we did in the retrosynthesis. Okay, so this after finishing the retrosynthetic analysis, you got to write down the forward reaction, the guideline number 3. So according to the guideline number 3, so consider alternative disconnection and choose the route that avoid hemoselectivity problem. Suppose when you are given a molecule where we have hemoselective reactions, suppose you have two reactive centers, then they will be reacting. If you treat the molecule, the sorting material to the reagent, then the reagent may react with the both center. So there you will face this hemoselectivity problem. Then those case you have to find out which is the more reactive, which is the less reactive, so that you select the bond among those two, which one you have to disconnect first. So here you have to remember that disconnect more reactive group first. So the first point is we have to disconnect always the alkyl side, the guideline number 1. Guideline number 2, we have to disconnect next to the heteroatom. Okay, the guideline number 3, we have to disconnect the more reactive group first. Okay, we will see examples. So a reaction in which one functional group, what is meant by hemoselectivity? So we will see the definition here. A reaction in which one functional group within a molecule reacts leaving the other potentially reactive functional groups unaltered is called a chemoselective reaction. That means if you have two functional group in a molecule, so when you do a reaction, it selectively attacks a one functional group, not the other. So other is untouched, it's being intact in the reaction. So the reagent selectively reacts attack on one particular functional group, that is called chemoselective reactions. So when you have some problems, you cannot do that selectively, then you have to use the guideline number 3. That means you got to disconnect the more reactive group first. Okay, suppose you take this example, so you have to listen carefully. This is the one example where you will apply all the 3 guidelines, and you will come to know what is really the disconnection giving the solution for the forward synthesis, how to carry out the forward synthesis, where to start. Okay, already we have seen that the retrosynthetic analysis, using the retrosynthetic analysis, if you are given a target molecule, you can arrive at a right starting material after your analysis. That's what you are going to do for this molecule. So suppose if you take this molecule, here see how many bonds are there. Here one CO bond, CO bond, CO bond, CO bond, CN bond, CN bond. So among you have 6 bonds, okay, where you can disconnect. Okay, obviously that means 3 heteroatom. So both side both side of the heteroatom, 2 you can break, so that each 2 heteroatom will have 2 bonds, possibilities of 2 bonds to break down. So totally you have 6 possibilities. Okay, so you look at one by one, but already we know, according to the guideline number 1, we usually don't choose these 2 bonds because they are connected to the aryl part. So we don't do the disconnection which is connected to the heteroatom, the heteroatom connected to the aryl part. We will choose only the alkyl part. So automatically we will eliminate these 2 the choice. Okay, so now we are left with this 4. 1, I will see that one by one. So first, this is an anti-obesity drug. Okay, it's called ICI D7114. So within a amine and the 2 ether group, here we have, it requires several disconnection to take it back to the available starting material, isn't it? Yes, we already eliminated the 2 bonds. We will see in the next slide. We will answer one by one. Okay, which disconnection should we do first? Can we simply say this? You cannot simply say that. You have to do the analysis. After the analysis only, you can clearly say that which disconnection we should do first. Okay, that we will see in the next slide. Okay, you are going to do the retrosynthetic analysis for this molecule. Okay, now already I said that here we have 4 possibilities. Among the 6, we have eliminated these 2 possibilities. Now you are left with 4 choice. Okay, so so you have to write down all the 4 possibilities. Then only you can analyze which one is the best, which pathway looks best among the 4. Number 1, suppose you break the carbon heteroatom. This that means the carbon CO, the CO bond. Okay, then the pathway A will give you 2 synthone. Okay, one nucleophile and an electrophile, because you are breaking the bond here. Here you have the anion, the cation, nucleophile and electrophile. The pathway number 2, suppose you are choosing the other CO bond. Okay, then you take it as a B, pathway B. Then the pathway B will give you 2 synthone. Okay, the synthones anion and cation, because you are breaking bond here. Here this will be the anion and this will be the cation. That means it will be a nucleophile and this will be the electrophile. Okay, so the next C, the possibility is breaking the bond C. So the pathway C, we are breaking the carbon heteroatom, the carbon nitrogen bond here. Okay, the right side of the nitrogen. Then you will end up with one nucleophile, the anion, the nitrogen, then an electrophile. Suppose you are breaking the other bond, which is the right side to the nitrogen, and the D bond D, then the pathway D will give you 2 synthone and nucleophile and electrophile like this. So Can you say like, which pathway we have to choose? So we already eliminated the possibility of breaking here because the oxygen is connected to the aryl atom. So now we have done all the four possibilities. Okay, the bond breaking, four bond breaking, A, B, C, D. Then we have to choose among those four which one is the best. Okay, then we have to really do the analysis because we are end up with is not done because we have done only one bond. The bond is broken here is the only one bond. Here you left with the remaining part. Then again you have to do the retrosynthetic analysis for the remaining part. Here in this case molecule. Here you can do here. Okay. So every molecule we have an anion and cation, that means one nucleophile and electrophile, where we can do again the bond breaking to arrive at the simple molecule. Okay, so this is the first step. We have chosen one bond. Okay, there where we have the four possibilities. So among these four possibilities, you can eliminate some of the pathway by using your chemistry knowledge. What are those? So suppose you take the pathway A, okay, and pathway B, you can simply eliminate this possibility. Why? Because we will see. Okay, the next slide. Because it's a bad choice. Why these two pathways bad choice? You can simply eliminate in the first look itself. So that we will see in this next slide. So what is the problem here? So as I already told that we have chemoselectivity problem, the guideline number 3. Whenever you have a chemoselectivity problem, you have to go for the most reactive atom, that most reactive bond that you have to break first. Okay, keep in mind that will arrive at that decision only in the later stage. So here if you take the path A where you will end up with these two, isn't it? So already known that path A will give you this two synthone. So if you take this path A, we have here two synthone, one nucleophile and an electrophile, See, we can easily find out the synthetic equivalent for those synthones, this alcohol and the chlorobenzene, benzyl chloride. So if you treat in the presence of base, you should get the target molecule, isn't it? But here the problem is when you treat this starting material, okay, this starting material in presence of a base, the problem of chemoselectivity is here you have acidic proton over here, okay, the nitrogen, and another acidic proton over here, OH. So here we have two acidic protons. Okay, so if you treat the base, if you treat this molecule with the base, then the base will remove the proton from the two sides. Then you cannot get the only one product, your target molecule, because your expectation is this has to undergo the nucleophilic substitution with this molecule. Okay, but since you have two acidic proton, the base will remove the two protons simultaneously, so you don't get the only this target molecule. Along with you will have this another one also. So here we have the chemoselectivity problem. So you can easily eliminate this approach, breaking the bond A, because that will give you a chemoselectivity problem. Then you choose the path B, where you have these two synthones. Okay, after breaking the bond B, you will have these synthones, where you can easily find out the synthetic equivalent for this one. Here simply you put the leaving group and you have the corresponding alcohol. So when you treat in presence of a base, again the same problem what you faced in the case of the path A. So if you treat these two molecules in presence of base, again you have problem. In the amine molecule also you have acidic proton, and the phenol molecule also you have a acidic proton. Though the base will remove both protons, leaving both as a nucleophile. So both now here is a nucleophile. So instead of our expectation is that nucleophile we should replace this chlorine to arrive at the target molecule. But since here also you are generating the anion, this will in turn undergo the intramolecular reactions. So this will compete with the intermolecular reactions. So you don't get the only the expected target molecule. So again you can eliminate the path B. Okay, now I think you clearly understood why we are eliminating the possibility of breaking bond A and bond B, because of the chemoselectivity problem. Okay, because here we have two functional group, they are not selectively reacting. When you treat the base, both are reacting in the same way. Okay, since both are having the acidic proton. Here we have the intermolecular. When the one molecule itself we have chemoselectivity problem. Here the two reagents, they have the same kind of reactivity. So they have acidic proton. So simply you can eliminate this bond breaking of that the two choices A and B, as we have already seen. That's why we said that the path A and B are bad choice. Okay, now you are left with only the C and D, breaking the bond C or D. Okay, now look at the next slide. We will analyze the path C and D. Okay, so if you take the path C, suppose you are breaking the bond C, you will left with two synthons, the nucleophile and an electrophile. Here you can easily write down the forward reaction using the corresponding synthetic equivalent. This is the synthetic equivalent for this synthone, and this is the synthetic equivalent for the this synthone. So when you treat these two reagents in presence of a base, you should get the expected target compound. That's what we expect, isn't it? But here you see the amine we have the amine. Okay, then only one, we have only one acidic proton so we have two reagents, only in the one reagent we have the acidic proton. The another is there is no problem at all with this, isn't it? You can generate easily the anion over here, and when you treat with this molecule, it will easily undergo the nucleophilic substitution reaction to give the target molecule. So in the case of breaking bond C, there is no issue of chemoselectivity, because here we have only one functional group, amine. So you can easily generate the anion from the amine. Okay, so now you have to look at the breaking of bond C, D, where you will have again synthones, this one anion, one nucleophile and an electrophile. So if you find the corresponding synthetic equivalent, then these are the synthetic equivalent for those synthones. So now if you treat these two in presence of base, here also you have only one functional group. Okay, where you have the acidic proton. So you can easily generate, and it can react with this one. It will also give the expected molecule, the target molecule we can reach. So in both case we have only one acidic proton, path C and D. But A and B, we have all seen that we have the chemoselectivity problem. But in the case of C and D, we don't have that chemoselectivity problem. Okay, then among the path C and D, which one is the best? Okay, that's what we have to analyze and find out. Okay, so in the next slide you will see that why. So okay, we will analyze the bond path C. Okay, since we have done only one bond breaking of only single bond, you are left with the remaining molecule. Okay, where again you have to do the retrosynthesis. Then only you will find out among these two pathway which one is the best one. Okay, so now we will analyze the path C. Again we are continuing the retrosynthesis for the left out molecule. Okay, of this molecule. Okay, so now we take this molecule. Forget about this chlorine bromine problem. Okay, here where I have given only chlorine, then here I have taken as a bromine. So both are leaving group. Just example, we can have both halogen as an leaving group. Okay, if you take this molecule, and again you got to do the retrosynthetic analysis. Suppose if you are breaking the bond. You have two bonds, okay, here you can break and here also you can break. First we are choosing this bond, okay, because we don't do here, already we know that according to guideline number 1 we don't do on the aryl part, we will do on the alkyl part. So among these two possibilities, first you are breaking this left side CO bond, okay. If you break that bond, you will have the synthons, okay, an electrophile and this nucleophile, okay. Then you can easily find out the corresponding synthetic equivalent. This is the synthetic equivalent for this synthone, and this phenol is the synthetic equivalent for this synthone nucleophile. So now if you treat with these two molecules in presence of base, you should get this target molecule, okay. Now here it is the target, okay, the second bond breaking. So it's there is no problem at all here, okay. Now you have a base, okay, then you have a one acidic proton, the phenol acidic proton, you will get the molecule. So in this step also you don't have any problem. Suppose you take the molecule left out after the first bond breaking of D, this molecule, okay, after the bond breaking of D bond, breaking the D bond, you will left with this molecule, okay. Then you are analyzing this molecule as you did for the bond B. After the breaking bond B, the left out molecule you did the analysis here, okay. Like that you have to do for the left out molecule of the bond C breaking here. So if you break this bond, here you have one CO bond, okay, here you don't choose, you can choose these two. So here also we are choosing this left side one. So then you will end up with these two synthone. Then you can easily find out the synthetic equivalent for these syntones. So if you treat these two reagents, okay, here you have two acidic proton. You have after the bond breaking, you are left with two synthetic syntones. So when you write down the synthetic equivalent for those syntones, then you will end up with these two reagents, one amine and alcohol. Suppose if you are treating these two in presence of base, like in the case of choice A and B, we have seen, no, in the case of choice B we saw that two molecule where we had two acidic proton, like that. And this in this disconnection also we have the same kind of problem, the chemoselectivity problem. So here you cannot arrive at the target molecule. This is the target. If you treat this and this in presence of base, you don't get this target molecule because you have the chemoselectivity problem. But in the case of retrosynthesis, when you do the further retrosynthesis on the C pathway, where when you break down the second bond, we don't have any chemoselectivity problem. Here you have only one acidic proton. When you treat with the presence of base, it will easily undergo the nucleophilic substitution resulting in the target molecule. Then you can carry forward to the next step. So I think you are clear that very clear that how we eliminated the choice of A and B and finally the D. Now we have chosen the pathway C. This is the best disconnecting pathway for the given target molecule, okay. So now you are left with only one bond, CO bond, that you can do, okay. So we already eliminated the path D because of this chemoselectivity problem. Now we have chosen the path C as the right disconnection for the given target molecules, okay. Then how to avoid the chemoselectivity problem, that is the point that you saw as a guideline number 3, okay. The pathway C appears to be the better choice because the next disconnection, with the first disconnection was okay for path C and D. See, for path C and D we have seen that the first disconnection, okay, the first disconnection was okay. Here that's what you saw in the earlier case. The both case, the first disconnection, there is no problem at all, we don't have any chemoselectivity problem. But when you go further, then we have the chemoselectivity problem in the case of D, pathway D, okay. That's why we eliminate the pathway D. So pathway C appears to be the better choice because the next disconnection after pathway D has chemoselectivity problem. So there is a chemoselectivity problem in the pathway D when you do the next disconnection. So the disconnection after D will have to be an alkylation on both oxygen and the amine. That's what we saw there. So there we face the chemoselectivity problem. So to avoid this chemoselectivity problem like this, we have to choose the more reactive group that should be introduced in the synthesis later. So we have to find out which is the more reactive, okay, when you have the chemoselectivity problem. Therefore that should be the more reactive should be disconnected at first. So which is more reactive, that should be disconnected first. When you do the disconnection first, suppose we have problem, that we will see in this next slide. So here you have to remember that whenever you have the chemoselectivity problem, you have to find out the more reactive group, okay, that should be disconnected first. This is the point we are seeing as a guideline 3, number 3, okay. So in the pathway C we have done this disconnection, okay, and the left out, this is the one left out, the fourth bond we can easily disconnect and you will get up will end up with this synthons. Then you can find the synthetic equivalent for those synthons. You can carry forward the reaction in presence of base to get the corresponding phenol. So now we have completely broken all the possibility in the 4 bond, as in the first slide we say no bond A, B, C, D. Now we analyzed which one you have to choose. We eliminated first choosing the bond A, B. The first you have to break whether the C or D. Then we eliminated the choice of disconnecting bonds D, because there also in the second step when you do the disconnection we had the problem of chemoselectivity. So we have chosen the path C. So first you break the C, then D, like that you can do, okay. Here you don't have any problem, okay. Hence you have only here whenever to the base, even it will undergo both side also, but when you have this as a excess, okay, here this you have to take as a one equivalent. So that by taking the equivalency, through the equivalency you can control this reaction to arrive at the single product, okay. So using guideline number 3, what is that? We have to find out, we have chosen the pathway C because using all the possibilities and the our chemistry knowledge, using our chemistry knowledge, we have chosen the pathway C as the right pathway to take for the disconnection for the given target molecule. But the problem is that when you do that in the we have taken the 4 bond for the disconnection, isn't it? So we have to disconnect the 4 bonds so that you arrive at the simple starting material. Here in the final step, which one you got to do first? When you do the, see, you can see that the first step, the path C, you have this molecule, okay. After the disconnect, the second disconnection here, first disconnection we already done, the second disconnection we are left with these 2 molecule. So here we have dibromoethane, and then when you do the next disconnection here, where you had what? This benzyl bromide. So among this dibromoethane and benzyl bromide, which step you have to carry first? That's a thing you have to choose. Here you are using the guideline number 3. So among these 2, the left side, the dibromoalkane is more reactive than the benzyl bromide. So you have to disconnect this first according to the guideline number 3. Already we have seen in the point that whenever you have the chemoselectivity problem, you have to find out the more reactive group. Therefore that should be disconnected first. So here the more reactive group is the dibromoethane. So we have to disconnect this first, okay. We have already done the first disconnection, second disconnection. Among the third and fourth bond, we have to choose which you have to disconnect first. Then we are choosing this as a more reactive, and you have to disconnect that first. So disconnect the bromoethyl group before the benzyl group. because the bromoethyl group is more reactive and it's more likely to cause problem of hemoselectivity. Okay, because of that reason only we disconnect the dibromo first. So now we finish the complete retrosynthetic analysis for the given target molecule. Now we can clearly write down the forward synthesis. This is the result. Okay, now you are comparing the after the retrosynthetic analysis the result. What we have find out that we have to do disconnection first over here, because we said already that this bond, this will be the dibromoethane, this is a more reactive, that should be disconnected first. Okay, we'll see that. So after 3 then among this one, okay, because first we the first already we know that first we disconnected this, there is no problem, this is the approach. Okay, then you can do the the second bond, the third bond over here. Okay, because the fourth one is right over here, I didn't write here. The designed so we done all the bond breaking. Now we are going for the forward reaction. Okay, now after breaking the bond 3 and 2 and 3, we know that you will end up with finally we end up with this molecule. Sorry, I will go one by one. So we will, after breaking these 2 bond, we will have the finally this as a starting compound. Okay, so when you treat this one with this molecule, that's chlorobenzene, then you can easily get this one, this part. Okay, so you are carrying this step first, because we are breaking this bond at the last. Okay, then you are doing the alkylation on the other part using the dibromoethylene. Already we have seen that because of this more reactive problem only we are doing the second step. We already seen that this is more reactive than this one, so that we disconnect this first. That means we are among these two. Okay, here this bond and this bond, we are disconnecting first here, not here, because this is more reactive. This is the part, this is more reactive part. That's why we disconnect first over here among these two, not here. Here we already done this first part. Okay, this is the best way to disconnect. We already discussed this. Among these two, we are first breaking this bond because this is a more reactive. So according to the guideline number 3, the more reactive should be disconnected first. That's why we disconnected this first. So that will be in the forward, it will be next step, when because it's the last among these two, this is the second. So we are doing in the say among these two, we are first disconnecting this. So in the synthesis, it will be the second step. That's why we do in this the forward reaction, we do this alkylation the second step. Okay, so first right side the benzyl bromide, then with the dibromoethylene, then as usual we know that the third one, because we did the disconnection first, so this will be the last. Okay, it will be reverse. You can see that this we did the last, that's why this is the first, this we see the second, so it's the second, then first we did the disconnection over here, this is the last over here. So you will end up with this molecule, this is the target molecule. Okay, now I think you understood that how you arrive at the right synthetic pathway, the forward reaction when you are given this target molecule. You were given the target molecule, we did all the analysis, retrosynthetic analysis throughout, selecting all the 6 carbon hetero bonds. How we eliminated the first 2 possibility of this one, because based on the guideline number 1 we choose the only alkyl part, and among the 4 we eliminated the path this one. Okay, this one because of the chemoselectivity problem. Then we selected the path this one and this one, because we had a chemoselectivity problem. When you do first bond breaking over here, we will have the chemoselectivity problem. Here also we already discussed in the path D also we had chemoselectivity problem. That's why we chosen this one. Okay, where you have to disconnect first. So Now you know that we have used all the three guidelines. Guideline number 1, you have to disconnect on the alkyl side. Guideline number 2, whenever you have heteroatom, you have to disconnect the hetero-carbon bond. You have to disconnect next to the heteroatom, not the guideline. You have to disconnect next to the heteroatom. The guideline number 2. The guideline number 3 is when you have chemoselectivity problem, you have to find out the more reactive one. That should be disconnected first. Using the guideline number 3 only, we are doing this disconnection first over here compared to this one. Okay. So after that, we are writing down the reverse direction for the design synthesis of given target molecule. Okay. I think now you